we're back. This is Cars at 100, and recently I went to the Connecticut and I saw very interesting cars, and as you can see right now in front of you, this is F12 TDF. This car has 769 horsepower, and this is very limited Ferrari. To see this in flesh like this was very special occasion for me. In terms of the design, this car reminds me a little bit of some type of a high-speed looking type of bug, and this car is very technical, and this car does 0 to 60 in under 3.4 seconds. This is McLaren MP412C right now that you see in front of you. This car has a fairly good amount of horsepower, 616 horsepower, and it's a very good car by McLaren. When they finally released their new car, this was something that they had, and this car is very quick still, but it's old. So right now you see in front of you, this is Maranello. This is Ferrari's car, 595 Maranello, and this car is 515 horsepower. This car is really quick, either 595 or 575. I couldn't make it out from this car, but this car has 515 to 520 horsepower, and it's also very technical, rear-wheel drive, of course, front V12 engine car, and it's a very good sound indeed. You know, a lot of cars back in the day had the raw power and sound. This is McLaren 675 LT, very limited car, was produced in very limited amount, and to see in this show at least two of these was pretty special occasion. This car has 665 horsepower. Turbo S that you see in front of you was the latest edition of Turbo S lineup. This car has almost 580 horsepower. This one is BMW 850i V12, so it's a pretty special, also classic BMW. It has fairly good amount of horsepower at 300 horsepower, almost 296, but still a very good car and still a very special car. A very good Grand Tourer. It held up very well. I saw this car in flesh and really was surprised by the amount of quality the BMW still had left from the years back. This car is in front of you is Evora S, and this car is by Lotus. It's a very quick car, very light, very nimble car. Porsche 911 50 anniversary. This car is a very good car as well. It has only 430 horsepower, but it's pretty quick as well. It's a special edition by Porsche. 50 years they celebrated with this car. This car is a Camaro. I don't know what was on the rear glass over there. Maybe something that the owner decided to do with the glass, but maybe didn't finish. Camaro SS has 400 plus horsepower, 420 plus horsepower. This is M3. Oh, I'm sorry, M4. It has a very loud exhaust, and I saw it drive by. It was pretty loud. This is F-Type that you see in front of you. It's a very special, fairly, arguably one of the best looking cars ever made in the history of car making. So pretty cool. As you can see right now on the right, you see M6 Grand Coupe. This car has 565 horsepower. V8 twin turbo rear wheel drive, and it's a very comfortable quick car, so you can travel with style and yet have a very fast car. It's a little bit, they say it's a little bit faster than M5, but with the weight, I think weight disadvantage, I think, makes them even. Here we see another 675 LT. Now this car was the second car that I saw 675 LT on this show. So I saw two 675 LTs, and this one feels like it's an MSO done car. Also, you see in front of you NSX, and this was on airbags, so I mean on the back the suspension, so it was very low to the ground. You see in front of you right now 488. This car is by Ferrari, which has a 660 horsepower, and to the right of it, in a very light green, you see Miura. I'm not sure which Miura this was. It could have been a 350 to 380 horsepower, P400 or P400S. I'm not sure which one this was. On the left was a very good patina on this car, and it had like no restoration done on that orange car on the left, I'm sorry. And it was pretty cool to see them both together. Very good historical moment and heritage for the Lamborghini. And on the far right, if you can see over there is Countach, of course. So we're gonna come back to it in this video. But yeah, lots of interesting cars were here. A lot of people were around. It was hard to get shots. As you can see here, we have a lot of people scattering around these cars, a lot of enthusiasts, and they all respect each other, but you know, no one was bumping to another, and it was very good occasion here. You see some type of in front of you, you see orange, some type of a tuned Porsche, and it has a wing which was higher than the roof which was pretty cool. Also, let's see, we see a GTR that is gonna be coming soon. This GTR is the one that had the on it the Liberty Walk body kit. So first time I saw Liberty Walk body kit being done like this, and it was pretty cool. The car was on bags, and later on when he parked it, it was very low. It has some type of titanium, maybe Armatrix exhaust. Usually they do this on the GTRs. But this was the treat of the show, guys. This is Pagani Huayra BC, one of 25 under 30 cars in the world. And this car has 800 horsepower. Very, very capable car, very quick car. It's considered to be a hypercar, even though it doesn't have any hybrid help from the engineering that was done to the car. It's very raw, sounded really good, and which was pretty cool to see in person. It was the first for me. So this is Mercedes-Benz AMG GTS. This car has 506 horsepower. Behind it was Lotus Elan, which was really cool, louder than the Mercedes-Benz in front of it, and it was pretty cool to see these cars like all together, and all one being more louder than the other. It was like a competition of exhaust. Was pretty cool, you know. This is Lime Rock Edition M3 that you see on the right of you, one of 200 in the United States. So it was dedicated to Lime Rock race circuit in the United States. So it's a pretty special car as well. Okay, now we are going to Acura section. Now here we see NSXs, the old NSX and the new NSX. The new NSX, of course, has 500, almost 570 horsepower. It comes courtesy from electric motors and the gasoline engine. Very technical car, all-wheel drive car, unlike its predecessor. This is Type R. First time I saw Type R in person like this, close, very close to it, standing. It was very interesting, very special looking car. It doesn't look anything like a regular car made special to be made the Type R. It looks something that was built from ground up, and it doesn't remind you of Civic whatsoever unless you look at the headlights, and you know, it reminds you of a Civic. But everything else, every body panel on this car is different. Wheels are big, 245 with tires all around, huge grip. Seats, you sit very low. Car feels very special in person, and you know, enthusiasts are really gonna love this car. The only downside of this car, there is no exhaust sound, guys. There is no exhaust sound, if you can believe. The car begs for something loud to be installed. But yeah, very, very technical car at 310 horsepower. Europe gets 316. We get a little bit less horsepower here in United States. We see another Jaguar F-Type with having the roof on it compared to the one that we saw in previously. And this is Cobra AC, Cobra done resto modded. So this is a resto modded Cobra. I am sure it is very powerful. Side exhaust. I can imagine driving this car, sitting and having an exhaust right near your left ear. It is just a priceless, you know, experience. It is one of the few cars that deliver raw power and raw drivability and driver focused connection with the car. We have a Corvette on the left, Stingray. That Corvette had something also done to it. The owner was bragging about it a little bit. I remember when I overheard the conversation, I was standing near it, and he was telling that the car had more than, I think, 500 horsepower. Okay, so we come to the Zagato section. Now this is a Zagato section, very special cars done for the Aston Martin coach builder Zagato. So Aston Martin Zagato V12 and other cars here, V8 Vantage, Zagato, very special cars, and these cars are very sought after. This V8 Vantage was not Zagato, but it was still in the Aston Martin section. It was all Aston Martins there. Very loud car. Even though, you know, this car is fairly old, still Aston Martins have done these cars being loud in the past for a long time, and they're still sticking to their roots. We're gonna see right now the latest creation by Aston Martin. We're gonna see DB11 right now, but this Zagato V8 Vantage in front of me right now in this red is a very technical race track ready Aston Martin. We see Lancia right now in front of you. This is a silver Lancia. I wasn't sure which model this was. It reminded me of a little bit modded car, but this is the DB11 that I'm talking about. This is twin turbo V12 Aston Martin, and it has 600 plus horsepower to the rear wheels, and it's very good sounding, but of course nothing compared to the natural aspirated Aston Martins. But still, speaking of, on the right you see a James Bond car. If you remember in Casino Royale, James Bond flipped this car because a girl was tied up on the road, and he had to flip the car in order to avoid her. So it was a very interesting moment to see this car in person. One of those moments that, you know, you want to see what is going on, you want to look inside, you know, you're thinking like this car was in a movie, now you see it in real life. It's a cool experience, you know. So yeah, right now we are coming back to this Lime Rock BMW, and it's something that, you know, I think that is pretty special for the enthusiasts. So the car was in a good condition, even though it's a older version. It's 2010 version, 2011. Still, car was in a very good condition. So I really appreciated that. You know, whoever keeps their cars clean and in good condition really deserve an applause. Yeah, wheels were not scratched as well, so I had to give it this a second look, and I really like this car, and as you can see here. So yeah, definitely. And this is 612 Scagliati. Now this car is pretty special, of course, by Ferrari. You're not gonna see these cars a lot on the road, even though they are not in a Ferrari red color. This car is not in the Ferrari red color. Still, this car is pretty special, and I can imagine driving this car like in New York would be a very frustrating experience, but I guess nothing comes close with giving the pleasure of driving experience to yourself, right? This is 720 McLaren 720S. So 720S is a brand new creation of McLaren, and this car has 710 horsepower going all the way to the rear wheels. So this car is a very technical car. I talked a lot in my live videos and on my channel, on my videos. I wanted to see this car's Nürburgring lap time, because I think it's a very good competitor to GT2 RS that came out from Porsche recently. And the car looked very striking in person. The pictures and videos don't do justice to this car, and you know, definitely really good looking car. This is Pagani Huayra BC, and finally it was parked, and it was mind-boggling how he even drove this car here without having a truck bring it, and it's just incredible. And this is the Roadster version, and these cars are incredible. These cars are just, to see them in person, having one of 25 cars in the world of each of these examples was ridiculously entertaining. and I really felt like, you know, there was something that this car show had compared to other car shows, and this was definitely a treat. This was a Testarossa that you just saw, a very good example of Ferrari as well. This is e-hybrid I'm showcasing here on the video. This is 918 Spider. 918 Spider has 880 horsepower, hybrid drivetrain, and a gasoline powered engine in the back, as you can see over there on top of this car. Whenever the video comes back to the top, you can see the exhaust pipes. You see top section has the exhaust pipes, and yeah, definitely a very cool looking car, very technical. I can just imagine driving this car, having to feel all its power, even though, you know, it's just, you know, as you can see there, not really a lot of people were driving these cars, and very rare car. And you saw the Ducati motorcycle just now. Was very good experience to see this very raw type of motorcycle, which was not a motorcycle show, but still the owner decided to bring it. And as you can see, we are finally back to this GTR, which has Liberty Walk body kit on it, very low. On the backs it was lowered. This is 570S by McLaren. This is the entry level, if you can believe, McLaren's car. 570 horsepower, 0 to 60, faster than the GTR. GTR has all-wheel drive, guys, let me remind you. So this car has a rear-wheel drive, still faster than GTR. Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, very interesting car as well. We get a glimpse of it. It's 506 horsepower compared to M3 C63 AMG. This is Pagani Huayra BC Roadster, and we come back to it because of the roof is up on this car now, so it looks more interesting. This car was pretty special looking, guys. It was, once again, I can't stress this a lot, pure carbon fiber body in front of you. The car costs $2 to $3 million. You can touch it with your hands. And this is Carrera GT, very special, very raw, the most raw Porsche that you can ever know in the history of Porsche. And this is the one, manual, raw, no aids from the technical aspect on this car, engineered to be a pure driver's car. And also it was a kind of a sad sight to see this, because it reminded of the death of the Paul Walker. But you know, it once again it shows the testimony of this rawness of this car. It needs a respect when you're driving this car. So yeah, and as you can see here, we have a brand new BMW, not brand new because I think this is a fairly 2-year-old because of the lights in the back. You can see it's a older version. This is Z06, Corvette Z06, latest Corvette Z06, and this Z06 has 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. Golf R by Volkswagen. This car has 300, almost 300 horsepower. M2 is the BMW's iteration of M245, it's a better version. So this is M2, the pure M car, series 2, basically second series of BMW, not third, basically being M3. This is M2, so it has less than of course 400 horsepower, but still very capable rear-wheel drive car. This is the old version of M3. This is the M3 that was tuned to the teeth. I feel like it had a huge brakes, very big wheels, and I think this car had something under the hood, of course, which was very interesting. On the right, you have BMW on i8, which had different wheels. This is Liberty Walk GT86, Subaru BRZ, and Toyota Scion FRS, a tuned version with the Liberty Walk body kit, which is pretty cool also. As you can see here, I was looking at the rear wheels, so I wanted to see them very wide. I don't know why owner didn't put very wide wheels on it. It was begging for it, but I think because of the traction he wanted to slip a little bit. So interesting car nonetheless. And here we can see also some old Porsche. I wasn't sure which one it was, but it was definitely a 911. And this is what a change of the video. So old Porsche versus new Porsche, and you can see how big the Porsches have become, guys. Look at those rear wheels. This is GT3 RS. GT3 RS is a very capable 500 horsepower track weapon, very fast PDK clutch, and quick car. And that was a Tesla Model X near the Porsche on the left, and this is Lamborghini Diablo, red Lamborghini Diablo. This is the Bentley Super Sport. Basically, this is Bentley Super Sport, the one that has 700 horsepower, the most heaviest car in the world that does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. You see it right in front of you. So this is the most special. Only 700 of these cars are gonna be made, guys. Also, we see 570S in the matte color driving by. We see a couple of Ferraris here. This was F430 with Scuderia wheels. And we also see RS 4.0. This is 4.0 liters of the naturally aspirated engine from the Porsche, and this car is very special and still good on the market. Okay, we see 918 again. A lot of interesting cars were here, and the best that I felt in many years to be on a car show. I think I haven't seen a better car show than this, having all these cars under the rain. It was almost raining, guys. It was something that owners wanted to show these cars, and no matter what, I think if it started a little bit raining, I think they would cover the cars, and I think people would still walk around them. Of course, if there was a hard rain, probably they would drive away and the event would be over, but it was cool to see this. We see Viper ACR, the brand new ACR, the latest ACR. This car is very capable track toy. This car is 645 horsepower, very fast car on the track. And we see a Batmobile. This is Aventador SV, guys. This most Batmobile that you're gonna see ever. This reminds you of it, and this video doesn't do justice. I wish you could be there to see this car in person. This car looked like it was sculpted. It was like a huge toy. You wanted to grab it with your hand on top, but it was so big. It reminded you of a toy that was oversized. Wheels were so special looking. This is Diablo again. SV has 750 horsepower, naturally V12 engine, naturally aspirated engine, and it's very powerful as well. This is Diablo, and this is Countach, as I call it, a wallpaper car. Countach is basically a wallpaper car. You know, it's pretty special car. I'm sorry, on the SV side, on Lamborghini SV, Aventador SV has 740 horsepower, not 750. I confused it with some other supercar. But this is Pagani Huayra. Pagani Huayra regular version, if you can call this car any regular. This was in matte color, and I think this wasn't red. I think it was ordered in this color. This is Pagani Huayra, and it looks pretty special, even in a regular version of it, not BC. Still very special car. As you can see here, exhaust in the back, titanium exhaust coming from factory. You don't have to order these. This already comes standard on this car. This is CTR3, guys. This is very light, very powerful rear wheel drive roof, RUF, and I was thinking, is this car road legal in United States? And I think it is. It had the plates in the back, so I guess so. This car has 690 plus horsepower, weighing only 3,000 pounds, guys. Ridiculous. And when I turned around, I saw P1. This car is my favorite hypercar, guys, and I felt so special being near this car. For me, even Huayra BC didn't do justice in terms of delivering what it is. But still, you know, Huayra BC was an incredible sight to see. But P1 is the car that I really appreciate. Hopefully you like this show. Stay tuned, guys. This was Cars at 100, and see you next time.